welcome everyone to today's CLA webinar, which is Designing for Success. My name is Bob Neiman. I'm the editor of Planet Laundry Magazine, and I'll serve as your moderator. Today we'll be sharing some ideas and strategies for your next laundromat project. Design, remodeling, layout. We're going to be tackling that. So I'll start by asking our panel some questions, and then at the end we'll take your questions. So at any time during this program, feel free to send those questions to me, and we'll get to as many as we have time for. Let's meet our panel. We have with us today Sharon Brinks of the Laundry Station in Wichita, Kansas. Sharon, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me, Bob. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. We have Josh Chapman of Wash Bar in Ardmore, Oklahoma. Josh, this is your second or third panel, so you're old hat at it. Thanks for being with us today.
Hey, thank you. Always a pleasure, sir.
And rounding out the panel, we have Paul Hansen of Wash Smart Laundry in Chicago. Paul is also a member of the board of directors of CLA. Paul, thanks for being here today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, pleasure to do it. Glad to see everyone.
Sharon, let me pick on you first.
Okay.
Because I'm looking at you first here on the screen, so I see you first. Let's just start with, why do laundry owners need to pay attention to design and layout of their stores? What are the main benefits to the business? Thinking about your stores.
Well,
why is that so important?
The attitude I've always approached it with is you want your store to be the choice of the customer. Take a page out of the playbook of retail, retail stores. You want it to be welcoming and inviting, and for it to show that you want the customer there, not, be an ugly site that makes them think, I don't really feel welcome here. I don't feel, like this is a place I really want to do my laundry. You want them to choose you over your competition down the street. So that is the main thing. It needs to make the customers feel welcome on the looks. Now, aside from, your equipment needs to work, no out of order signs and stuff like that, but it needs to have a good welcoming feel for your target market, your target demographic.
Right. Great answer. Josh, how about you? Why is this so important? How has this benefited your business as far as the design and the layout of your laundries? And I know you have 4 now, and you've got a 5th on the way.
Yes, sir. I always look at it. I feel like today, the customers of today are much more visual than what they probably have been in times past. And thanks to, Google reviews and Facebook and social media and all that things, basically our stores are much more out there than they ever have been. I mean, used to, people only found you by phone book or just walking in. And so now when people, so I'm very in touch. I stay in tune with my stores and talk to first timers coming in, and they'll say, "Oh yeah, I look for you on Google." And so basically before they even come in, they've already seen pictures that I've posted or customers have posted. So being that you had a bright, vibrant store that is very welcoming, with great signage and things that you can portray visually. As I would say, that's probably I think that's a big step for me, just for the person who walks in the door.
Perfect. Paul, same question to you. What are the keys, and why is that important for you and your chain of stores?
Well, I think it's made a big difference over the last, oh God, too many years to count now. But laundromats had this idea. People always thought of them as dirty, dingy, not good places to go to. And I think as we've modernized and become more aesthetically pleasing, you're not only are you making the existing customer, but you're actually bringing additional customers who might not have considered using a laundromat before come in. Granted, they might not be full-time customers, but 1 or 2 times, and they want a modern look. They don't want just clean. You can have clean and really outdated, but they want something that looks modern, looks like it's been maintained and is newish.
Well, that's a great point. You're actually growing your market that way. You could. It's a good way to do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Paul, let me stay with you and just ask you, what are some of the trends that you're noticing in laundromat design these days? And why do you think they're becoming so popular? What are some of the hot trends?
Well, I mean, I think you're seeing definitely updated color schemes, more modern, depending
Mhm.
on your area. But it wasn't too long ago that a lot of laundromats had that McDonald's color. It was red, yellow, and
Mhm.
just kind of out there. McDonald's of the '70s, and now you've seen a lot more natural colors, much better
Mhm.
lighting. I think LED lighting's made a big difference. It's inexpensive and really can
Right.
make a place pop. And I think some of the new design elements you see that you never saw before. Professional wash, dry, fold counters. I saw a place that its beautiful uh, showcase for all their laundry products right next to their counter in a window, which I thought was
Mhm.
really nice. Higher ceilings, and you also see a lot more customer amenities. From nice seating areas, upgraded seating to, you know, uh, you know, reading centers.
Mhm.
The laundry reading centers, because you're finding that people are part of the community. You're part of the community, and that helps it. So that's kind of a more modern take. So you're seeing that stores actually being built around those type of amenities.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, great stuff. Josh, how about you? What's trending in Oklahoma?
He kind of just hit the nail on the head, kind of what I was going to say. But yeah, I'd
Uh-huh.
say definitely the brighter colors. I think thought put into store decoration. Store design. I know like us. I use like my logo colors, or I have accent walls in my stores. Something kind of ties together. But yeah, great LED lighting. I jokingly tell everybody you'll never find a single shadow in any of my stores. I have great lighting, and then also yeah, just signage. I think I mentioned this last time I was on here. We've gone all in on digital signage
Yeah.
at our stores, because my newest store I opened up about a little over a year ago. I was going to have a mural painted and all this stuff, and I was like, wait. So I ended up putting in 6 85-inch TVs that are all 4K, and when you put them up there, that's a big screen when you put them all together. But anyway, so now I mean, using signs, but also putting art and things on the screens, I can change the look of my stores literally just off my phone from anywhere in the world, because it's all cloud based. But
Right.
so anyway, I'd say using digital signs for things other than what most people think, like don't ride in my laundry cart, or don't overfill the soap dish, that type of
Right.
thing.
Right.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I say bright colors, lighting, well, just welcoming signage, not just like cardboard cutout stuff hanging from the ceiling, which I see that even though it's still a lot here in Oklahoma. I'm surprised that's still out there, but
Yeah.
anyway, but no, I think
Mhm.
that's all hits the nail on the head.
Yeah. No, great stuff. Sharon, how about you? Anything to add to what these two gentlemen have put out there for the trends? What's hot right now that you're seeing?
Well, I don't know. They've said it all.
Okay.
Reading centers, like Paul said, the
Mhm.
bright colors. Um, I personally have always been a fan of white walls. Just try to keep them white. Accent walls, accent colors here and there, but
Mhm.
white is clean. Um,
Mhm. Mhm.
as opposed to, yellow. I did have a laundromat where I painted the walls yellow, and those walls really needed some color because it was a hideous little laundromat. That was my very first one that I no
Right.
longer have, but it was a great learning opportunity.
Mhm.
Um, um, more as far as design, I know payment options aren't really it's kind of part of design, but the signage goes along with that. How can
Mhm.
what are the different ways that you can pay?
Mhm.
So Josh's
Right.
signage is a great idea, having the big screens up there. You can see in the background photo of our Oliver store. We have 2 stores right now. Oliver is the
Mhm.
only one that we have TVs up.
Mhm.
We run Atmosphere TV, some of the Chive channels on that right now. I don't do
Right.
any um, video signage, but I've contemplated it for the Seneca store for our second one.
Mhm.
Which,
Mhm.
if I can get people to look up from their phones to look at it, that would be great. But
Right.
yeah, just more modern, more
Mhm.
trends, more modern. Put in the
Mhm.
porcelain tile floors. Please don't put in the concrete floors. It's not
Mhm.
a garage. Your target demographic probably is the woman who does the laundry for the whole family. She doesn't want to
Mhm.
go to the laundry garage to do her laundry. She wants to go
Mhm.
to a place that looks nicer than her
Mhm.
own home. That's my
Okay.
goal. Yeah.
Okay. So
And
you're
then
saying no concrete flooring?
And I like your point. Both everyone made the point on the digital signage, and I'm glad Sharon's looking at, because it's always been a problem. Customers want, you don't have a sign, you need a sign. Well, you can have your store papered with signs, and nobody's going to read them anyway. So, and they got digital message boards like that is a perfect way to say, yeah, we got a sign, but we're not
Here's
going
your
to
sign.
Yeah, and there's some cool things you can do with that. I mean, we did like some animations of like don't play in the carts. We're showing some kids playing in a cart and falling down, and like birds flying around their head as the ambulance came. So, it gives you an opportunity to add some little things that are kind of cute.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and it's interesting because it's educating the customer, but it's doing it in a more pleasing way and a more maybe aesthetic way too.
Mm-hmm.
You've got that signage and you've got or payment as you brought up as far as payment instructions and how to use these things, but it's doing so in a pleasing way, and it's making the store look more modern that way. Sharon, you brought up the flooring, and you're anti the concrete flooring, and I'm just
It's a great
interested to
base.
see
It's a great base for the tile.
Paul and Josh, do you feel the same way on flooring, or what are your thoughts on on?
Here we go.
Sure.
I mean,
In my
I've never done.
stores.
Oh, go ahead, Josh.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Paul.
No, go ahead, Josh. You started first. You go.
Oh, no, I'll just say, yeah, nothing at I think everybody's different. I actually have one store that I did buy, I popped up the tile, so I do have concrete floors on mine, which I scrape them, then I do put a stain and then I seal them, and then I also and I put a grit in my in my matte clear coat just so it has some grit. But all my equipment, I use all Dexter, and so I really like the industrial look. I guess with the lights, with my bright lights, the stainless steel equipment, and the floors. I mean, it's one of those. It works for me. For us, it's easier to keep clean, so that way, in case someone does spill something, it doesn't show as bad. But as I said, at the end of the day, I mean, there's really no wrong way. I mean, I will say my old insurance agent side of me is always anxious around tile because a lot of time it gets wet, it's a slip and fall. So, but that's not saying bad. At the end of the day, it's we all own our own stores. We can do whatever we want. I think it's great. So.
And I've been in Josh's stores. They do look pretty. I think I've been in there 3 of them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think if it fits into the aesthetic you're doing, then it makes perfect sense. I mean, if you try and shoehorn, a concrete floor into something that has different looks, it doesn't work. But yeah, I've seen people do concrete then with an epoxy on it. I've seen some really cool ones. A couple people have had trouble with that over time. I've also seen a trend now, people putting some of this luxury vinyl plank flooring down. I think the jury's still out on that, whether that'll hold up to the rigors of a coin laundry, or laundromat, I should say. So we'll see. But yeah, again, it's up to everybody what works for them and what kind of aesthetic they're going for in their store. As long as it all flows nice, whatever you want to do to make it pop.
Yeah, no,
you have to have a really flat floor, flat concrete surface. There's some self-leveling stuff for the tile, but you have to have something good to start with for the concrete, the tile. So it's not for everybody, but if you have that luxury of putting in the concrete, pouring it, it is an option.
Oh, great conversation. I like that. I like that back and forth. And like you said, there's no cookie cutter way to do it. And if it works with the vibe of your store, I think that's great. So it's interesting. Thanks for indulging me in the flooring conversation. I just want to remind everybody that we've got a great panel here, and if you have any questions, if you're in the middle of a remodeling or a design project, feel free to shoot me your questions, and we'll have them tackle it. Josh, let me go to you. What are some specific challenges that owners face with regard to decor and design, or what are some challenges that you faced in recent years?
Yeah, I'll say, I think Sharon may have touched on 2 questions back, but I won't say, not say famously say, but I told everybody, I don't want my laundromats to look like a laundromat. And so that's my biggest challenge, is because we always say, nobody wants to do laundry. No one in their right mind wants to do laundry. And so I said, people come in, we want them to not, we don't want them to, just kind of, you just talk about like the weird colors, and or the reds and the yellows, more aggressive colors, where we have the calming of blues and the greens and white and things like that. And so I'd say just staying up to date to me is just making sure your laundromat does not look like a laundromat.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
but
perfect. Paul, how about you? Any challenges that you've come across recently as you've been designing?
Challenges, well, like the flooring, like Sharon said,
Mhm.
it even applies to tile. I mean, if you're taking over and rehabbing a spot, you got to be able to get a good self leveling there to get, so you have a good place to put the tile. You're gonna have cracks. My challenge has always been, Chicago being a cold weather market, I see a trend, a lot of more open open stores, which looks great, but it depends on the climate. You got to kind of balance that look with the utility costs. And a place like Chicago, we have such extremes of heat and cold. What's going to cost you to heat all that extra space or cool it? So that's always a challenge inside, which way to go. I've been going with just a slightly higher, 12-foot ceiling instead of all the way up to the grid, but it's just personal preference and your market.
All right, great. Thanks, Paul. Sharon, how about yourself as far as challenges to the design of a laundromat?
I think a lot of it has to do with where your utilities are coming in. So we're talking about like a new build, like a build out or a ground up build, one of the two. We've the store with the picture here behind me, that was a ground up build. We took a vacant lot and built the building in the whole 9 yards. The second one was a former veterinary clinic that we converted into a laundromat. So that was, we put a square peg into a round hole, and it wasn't too long. We'd already sunk a lot of money into it when we realized we should have just scraped it and redone it. So that one, we had some design challenges. Where are the utilities coming in at? Where were they coming in at for the veterinary clinic? Where does it need to come in at for a laundromat? The sizing of the utilities. But mainly we had to completely redo everything because of the venting of the dryers. We wanted to vent that was, the city told us it was too close to the property line on this one side. We had to have all the drawings redrawn, resubmit to the city, and figure out how to vent the dryers in the middle of the building. So it was hideous, it was ugly, and it cost us at least 6 months and a lot of money. But where utilities coming in, where can you vent, where can you do air intake? That one also, air intake's coming in through the eaves. So, there wasn't the option of putting the big grids behind the dryers. So it's part of store design. People never see it, your customers never see it, but there wasn't the option of putting in the air intake behind the dryers. It's coming in over the ceiling from the eaves. It works great. But where your utilities are coming in at, and what was my other one? I had another one. Let's see. Oh yeah, and where you can actually install your equipment. You're gonna have to, for your big washer extractors, you got to have deeper concrete, right? Well, where are you going to be able to dig out that, and where can you put them in? Just the whole layout and everything. Also, and I'm not sure which question this would fall in, but one thing that I don't like when I go into a store is when they have there's a certain brand that builds these prefab bulkheads that are really tall. And I can't see over that. And that, to me, that's like a safety issue, a security issue. So when you're designing it, think about how tall your washers are. They're already pretty tall, right? Do you want the super tall bulkheads? The idea is that you can walk through them. Ones we have, we just take the tops off and set them to the side so you can still walk through them. But think of it from a security issue. And if you are fully attended, can your attendant see what's going on in the back corner? Yeah, you've got cameras, but you want your customers, again, to feel comfortable. So that's kind of it's a design issue.
Right, avoiding those blind spots, I guess.
Yeah, you're going to have some. It's really hard to, maybe not when you're looking at cameras, but think about the person on the floor and think about your customers.
Right. Great stuff. Someone has asked if I could restate the names and of the stores of you guys. So I'm just gonna redo that. We have Sharon Brinks with us, who's with the Laundry Station in Kansas. Josh Chapman is with Wash Bar in Oklahoma, and Paul Hansen is with Wash Smart Laundry in here in Chicago. So there's that. Also had someone asking, for those of you who have reading areas, I'm looking to purchase my first store. I had a distributor say that there is more liability with reading areas because the kids are left alone. Thoughts? Anyone have thoughts on that if you have a library in your store? Any of the three of you?
The kids can be left alone just sitting in a chair while the parent walks out to the car. So give them a book to keep them busy. What I think they probably meant was toys.
Okay.
I mean, personally, balls, blocks, stuff like that. They'll leave them all over the store. They'll put them in the washer. Somebody will slip and fall and trip on it. But, oh yeah, I would get another insurance agent. Never keep a book out of a kid's hand. Don't get me started.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, what's more liability, having a kid sitting there reading a book, or laundromats are great hide and seek places for kids with the tall bulkheads. It's almost like being in a corn maze. So you want them running around and playing games, or you want them in one spot
Yep.
that where you know they are. I think it's much more of a liability to have them running around.
Mhm.
I was gonna say, I know, I mean, I'll be the rogue here on this one, because I've done them and all of it, and I'm all about my mom is an educator, my mother-in-law is an educator. I've tried the libraries in the stores, and I said, this all depends on your area too. But I don't mind it being where books would end up being thrown as weapons, and basically we were spending time every single evening, attendance, we're having to go through, discard torn up books, and just basically putting the area back together. So we got rid of it, one of us, actually all three of them about 2.5 years ago, and it's never been a problem. And so now we find that the kids are watching our digital signage so I guess that's good, because I usually I have a YouTube, I'll talk about this, I play a YouTube video, like music videos in the bottom corner of my digital signage. So that usually draws them in. I know it's brain rot with screens, but in my case, it was being a distraction and causing, destruction. And they were hitting other customers, and I wasn't going to get sued over some kid throwing a book. So I know it's a terrible excuse, but just my experience.
Just
Yeah.
depends. It depends on the demographic.
Yeah.
I mean,
100%
you
agree with
got
that.
people that value education. You got people that, your customers that they want them to read a book, or they'll sit down. Rare is the time I actually see a parent sitting down reading a book.
Yeah.
And I want to take a picture and post it on Facebook. I'm like, look, somebody's actually reading a book. But and then there's others that are like, no, put that down here, watch this video on my iPhone. So just depends on your customer base. It really does.
Mhm. Great, good conversation. Sharon, let me stay with you. How would you suggest that store owners balance aesthetics versus functionality? Because isn't that the balancing act when you're designing and you're you're trying to remodel a store, the aesthetics versus the functionality, and how have you done that?
Wow, we really struggled with that on the new store on Seneca,
Mhm.
especially when we had to flip where the customer service area and the dryers went. Functionality is number one. It's got to be functional, or you
Mhm.
can't make any money. You can't make any money. You don't have a store, and you're out of
Mhm.
business pretty quickly.
Mhm.
So functionality is number one. And then if you can put the aesthetics on top of that, then layer it with the aesthetics. So when you're coming in, look at it, always look at it from the customer's point of view. Who is your target customer? What does he or she want to see when they walk in? What are they going to do? They've got their big, heavy thing of laundry. Automatic doors are awesome when you can put those in and go right to the big machine, make it easy for them. I often don't go get milk at the local Kroger's because it's clear in the back of the store. I'll go to the little Brahms. Josh, you know what Brahms is.
Oh yeah, the
I'll
best.
go to the Brahms because I pop in, milk's right there. Or whatever little quick grocery thing. It's like a convenience store thing.
Convenience,
It's
yeah.
in the back because that's the way the store is designed. Refrigerated stuff's on the outside. But what does your customer really want? In this case, I want one thing. I want to go in and get it. I got a really heavy load. Bring it in. So functionality is number one. Aesthetics, layer that on top as well as you can. But don't design for making it pretty and hiring a designer for all the cute little things. And then, okay, now I got to make it a laundromat. How do I put washers, dryers in here?
Right,
Functionality number one.
right.
I
Great.
talk too much. I'm sorry.
No, I love it. Josh, how about you? How do you walk that fine line between aesthetics and being functional?
I remember back whenever my first job in high school was at a grocery store, and I worked in the produce department. And the one thing I ever got growing up, I think I remember, was a guy told me, he goes, Josh, goes, eye appeal is buy appeal. And I literally have that. I should have it on a pillow on my bed, 'cause I use that. I say that almost every day. But I 100% agree with what Sharon said. Yeah, when you're designing it, you got to have the functionality. It has to be core. But if you look at it from the customer's perspective, a new person, I always say aesthetics is what gets people in the door. Functionality is what keeps them there. And so that's a big that's actually a huge deal for what I do. That's kind of go back to what I said earlier. my stores don't look like a laundromat. I don't want them to look like a laundromat. And so, at least as much as possible, minus, massive equipment sitting everywhere. I guess you're gonna look like a laundromat. But anyway, but yeah, I'd say to get people in the door, the aesthetics does get it. Whether going back to what we said earlier, because I said 99% of the time they saw you on Facebook, Google, TikTok, whatever avenue you're trying to go after. And so I said, so usually the cool lights or the wavy features like, oh, that's cool. That doesn't look like the place down the street that's 30 years old. It's all top loaders. That's avocado green with a burned up dryer in the back corner. That type of thing. So,
Right.
Which we've all seen those.
That's
Yeah.
vintage, Josh.
Yes, yes. I missed that one. I'm sorry.
That's a whole different kind of aesthetic. Right.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Paul, how about you? Do you have any thoughts to add to this whole, again, the balancing act?
Yeah, no, I think Sharon and Josh covered that pretty well. Yeah, it
Mhm.
just it's a business to begin with, and it's got to function as a laundromat. But
Mhm.
if you can layer it on, like Sharon said, that's
Mhm.
great. I thought that was interesting about the milk in the back. I actually read that that's actually designed on purpose to try and get you go past other stuff, which is,
Yep.
I guess we can take a little bit of that just for if you're going to be a full service store with wash, dry, fold, and so over the counter products, make it front and center where people can see it. I've seen stores where they had their wash, dry, fold corner in the back or in a back corner where you can't see it, or a soap machine that's back where you can't see it. Put it up front and forward so people
Mhm.
buy that stuff. They see
Yeah.
it and they know it's there.
Yeah, yeah, great point. A question here, have any of you worked with a designer to maximize functionality?
Nope.
Guys?
No, I do it all myself.
Okay,
I
okay.
just tell my wife what I'm doing, and she tells me what I did wrong and changes it. So
See, there
That's
you
the
go.
plan.
Woman's perspective, right? Who's the main laundry person?
absolutely.
Design it, then bring your wife in. You like this? And then make her changes.
Yep.
I will say, I can't tell you how many stores I walk into and I'll tell my wife, I'll say, I guarantee you there was no woman involved in this store. Some equipment rep was trying to shove so many machines in there and there's no layout, no flow. And so, no, I agree. Yeah. So you have to know your audience for sure.
Mhm. Great, great. Paul, in your opinion, what are some leading money makers in a store, and what are some space wasters? As far as layout and design of a store.
Well, I think the money makers are the ones that are laundry related. If you can't have a full service counter, at least some kind of vended counter for larger soap. Over the years, machines have obviously gotten bigger, and the little single use soaps are really at the cost, and for customers, they're not really effective as much. So I found that large format bottles sell really well of name brand stuff. In Hispanic areas where we're primarily at, I mean, some of the Hispanic brands of soap, the Suavitels and the Ariels, are very, very profitable. Soda, snacks, that type of thing has always traditionally been good. I'm not real big on the video games. I think video games, especially now with technology, are dated really quickly. They take up a lot of space, and you really got to swap them out quite often. So I don't find them. Pool tables I've seen, but again, that's a lot of space to take up and how much you're going to use. If you're in an area that allows coin pushers, I've heard, I've never had the pleasure because they don't allow it in Chicago, but coin pushers are small format, take a lot of, are very profitable. What are some of the other bad ones I've seen? Rides. I've seen rides. We tried that at one point with those, and they're just dirt magnets, and half the time they don't work, and they take up a ton of space and aren't worth it.
Great,
Yeah.
great. Sharon, how about you from your perspective? What are the money makers, and what are the space wasters?
So both of our stores are fully attended. We didn't even build them to where it could be unattended. You can just walk right behind the counter. So that being said, we don't have any vending machines per se. It's like a convenience store. We've got all sorts of laundry products. We probably stock way more than we should, but we sell it all. If we don't sell something, then we get something else. But detergents we sell pods, the single serve boxes, if you will, single load boxes, small bottles, large bottles, all name brand stuff, all the goods, the good brands. I don't go get the off brand, stuff. I want to make sure they have a good wash experience. You're making your money on the washers.
Mhm.
I don't want to lose money on the products, but you know, we do make a decent amount on those. We'll sell hangers, branded laundry bags, dryer sheets, softeners,
Mhm.
vinegar, baking soda, sewing kits. Don't sell too many of those, but anyway, just laundry related and clothing related items, stuff like that.
Mhm.
Then for snacks and pop, we actually have a refrigerator at each store. It's one that like you'd see at a convenience store,
Mhm.
or you just self-serve, get your snack, pop, whatever, bottle of water, take it to the counter, and then we ring it up. We have the UPC scanner, ring it up for them. It promotes the customer attendant interaction. And I want that. It's kind of like, it promotes more of the goodwill. If somebody's having a bad day, maybe we can perk them up a little bit. And again, Josh, you're familiar with Quick Trips in
Oh, yeah.
Oklahoma. If you walk into a Quick Trip, and I don't know about Buc-ee's or anything else, I've been in all the others, but I know Quick Trip is very heavy here in Wichita. If you walk in there, they immediately acknowledge you, say, hi there, welcome to Quick Trip. And then as you leave, have a good day, see you next time. When they walk in, and when you walk in and they acknowledge you, that means I saw you. If you're here for a bad purpose, I saw you. So again, I want to promote that interaction between customers and the attendants, because I think it's also, again, a safety, a security issue.
Mhm.
So profit centers, the pops and the snacks, we stock them ourselves, do 100% markup as much as possible. Have to collect that sales tax. That's kind of the fun part, isn't it? Collect the sales
Mhm.
tax and get that paid to the state every month. We also do wash, dry, fold, drop off laundry. Things I'm not a fan of, massage chairs, just don't. Think COVID, you know, remember how we had to disinfect everything that anybody could possibly touch? Ew. I really don't think those are money makers, but I'd never had them. I couldn't speak to that, but I don't think that's a good idea. Josh can speak to dog washes. I don't want a dog wash anywhere near my laundromats. Love dogs, but the temptation would be then to bring the dog in the store, and not everybody's a fan of dogs. I don't want dog hair. We got enough dog hair as it is from dog beds. Great money makers though. I think those are great money makers. Just, I'm not sure about having them in a close proximity to a laundromat. Gambling machines, quarter pushers. No, Google gambling machines laundromat in Wichita, and you'll see why. There's a guy who got in some big trouble with that. They are illegal in Kansas. Focus on your self-serve. Just don't go there with those things. And like Paul said, arcade games are becoming like cute antiques now. Yes, they're outdated and don't work half the time. So
Yeah.
I think that's everything.
That's great. That's great. That's a lot. If we can back up a little, someone's asking, what is a coin pusher or a quarter pusher? Can you explain to
Paul, you know, it's one of those little, if it's a skill game, I guess it's legal in Kansas-ish, but you're putting money in and trying to push quarters to get more money or something. It's a gambling machine.
Yeah, you see them, and you see them, you know, at arcades and stuff, even kids' arcades. Sometimes it's gold chocolate coins or whatever. It's basically you put a coin in and it falls down. And it might push over. But yeah, they're illegal in some spot. I've seen some people actually do. Well, it's free because we have a thing of mints on top. So it's actually you put a quarter in and you get a free mint. And I'm like, I don't think that's going to pass scrutiny very easily. But yeah.
I was gonna say there's some great YouTube videos about laundromats getting tore up from people vandalizing those coin pushers.
Yeah.
So just Google it. You'll deter you most of the time.
Right.
You talk about bringing in the wrong element. That's not
Absolutely.
that's not my target customer.
Yeah.
Right.
Not my avatar.
Yeah, I feel the same way with video gambling. I know some places are allowing video gambling and people put those into it. I'm like, do you really want the same customers? Mostly, like you said, women and their families. They don't want some grody old guy coming in there and playing games all day and sitting there. They want safety.
Right. Josh, how about you? Same question as far as the money makers and the space wasters. Do you have anything different or anything that you can add?
I mean, little bit, but yeah, pretty much the same. I'd say space wasters, which is something that I'm actually fine tuning in a couple of my stores now. Because used to, I always had thought, hey, you need to have, at least one chair for, for every machine, so on Saturdays and Sundays when you're busy, you cover it. And now, I mean, I'm watching, thanks to you, thanks to, having apps, even though I take quarters at all my stores with, card and all that stuff, but the app, I mean, and we're pushing all our digital signage, to start with that, they can go sit in their car, they can do whatever, and they can see live on their phone how much time is left. So I'm noticing I mean, except for maybe Sunday evening, the Sunday evening crowd doesn't seem to be the technology savvy crowd. But anyway, I've seen, so usually basically less seating. So I'm gonna call that so we're basically trying to put some, come up with some ideas in there. And, obviously not doing massage chairs. I agree with Sharon on that one. That's not willing to cross that bridge. But on the money makers, I say something I tell people all the time. I do a lot of consulting with people, and I say, don't sleep on selling pods. As I have one particular store as my very first store. It's the only store that I bought. But anyway, the last 3 years, I sell between anywhere to 11 to 12,000 pods. 1,000, just that one store every year at $1 a pod, and they're in my vending machine. I got a Hobby Lobby, get a little jewelry bag, pop it in there, it fits in my vending machine. And anyway, so that way, going back to, I don't want to charge sales tax, so I could sell that's why everything's in my vending machine. So even but going back to even like the custom laundry bags, I think I order about 1,000 of those every 4 months, and I'm always out of them. So people, for some reason, if you have a cool logo, they want your bags. I offer them in different colors. I have people have 7 to 8 of our bags. I don't get it. But anyway, something we're getting ready to start offering is actually t-shirts too. We have a lot of people ask for our t-shirts. I don't understand that, but hey, if they'll give me 15, 20 bucks for a shirt and give me free advertising, I'll do it all day long. But anyway, I would say I also know someone asked about ATMs. I own the ATMs in my stores. I make between $300 to $400 a month. I charge. So I don't push them. I don't advertise it outside the store. But anyway, I keep the $3 transaction fee, and I get to keep 100% of that, for owning the ATM. And then I just personally, I take the cash out of the change machine and fill the ATM. But yeah, I was trying to think of anything else. I made a couple of notes here, but I think we covered it all. But yeah, I tell you, I have vending machines. I have both food, drink, as well as laundry. Surprised so the laundry doesn't sell as many of like the bottles. I keep those. Everybody wants pods, so I make more money per capita selling pods. But anyway, dryer balls, like the little mesh laundry bags, like delicate bags, we sell those. And so anyway, just trying to think out of the box that people would never have, but they see it and like, hey, I can swipe my card and I can have that for $4. Cool, it cost me $1, that type of thing.
Right. Great stuff. Sharon and Paul, do either of you have ATM machines, as Josh had mentioned?
I forgot to mention that. Yeah, we have them at both of our stores, and yeah.
Self-owned or third party?
We own them. I stock them. We have a separate ATM account, pull that money, put it in, $3 service charge. It amazes me how many people will pull $10. We dispense $10 out, pay $3 service charge. I don't get it. But, the other thing is people say, well, if you're taking credit and debit cards, people won't use ATMs. They will. Think about all the people that are getting paid like with Chime. They don't have a checking account. They have to go to an ATM to get any cash out. So there are a lot of people who get paid like that. There's plasma donation places in town that they pay you with a card. If you want any cash, you got to use an ATM of some sort. So.
Yeah, we've had a combination of owned and third party. Haven't had the same experience, and we're 100% card operated, so they didn't really do a lot. And I think about 2-3 months ago, we actually had in the middle of the night somebody break through the front window, hook a chain up, and pull it out the door, and that was it. We decided, it's not really. They're not enough of a profit center for us. I don't know if it's because in a dense market like we are, that there's ATM every other block, or since we take debit credit for everything, it just wasn't worth it for us anymore.
Okay. Another question. They've been having a hard time finding modern vending machines. Are there any recommendations as far as how you came across yours, or how your situation? Anybody on the panel?
Well,
we don't have any, so I'm out.
Okay. Right.
For the soda machines, I always went with one of the name brands, either Pepsi. I haven't used Coke, but Pepsi or I can't remember, it was 7-Eleven or Dr. Pepper or whatever, where they'll actually put in the machines, maintain the machines as long as you order the product from them. And you have to stock it yourself, but you keep all the money. Snack machines, just about any, if you want to buy new, I mean, they're not cheap anymore. I mean, any vending store, there's one in Chicagoland that we use, American Vending Supply, that has all the modern stuff, but you can find them online. There's a couple manufacturers of soap vending machines. So especially if you're in an unattended store or your attendant's busy, it's nice to have. The negative on that is you can't really put the large format bottles into them. It's got a limit. Yeah, but Google just about anything. You can find any of that type of thing in Google, and you can find them used too. I started out with our vending snack machines 30 years ago. I just bought a bunch of used one and started stocking it myself, and eventually upgraded them to newer ones as they died. But some used ones are great too.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think that's always, I think Jeff Moe put on there about a bin right. I do have one of those $20,000 bin rights at one of my stores. Nothing, if anybody's on, nothing against them. I have the most problems with the techie, with that expensive one. But my last 3 stores, I've just gone to vending.com, and I say that Tamika, I think I saw asked about the soap. They actually have a vending machine for laundromats on there. And they also do, I mean, insanely cheap financing. I was going to pay for them, like, oh, you'll finance it for 3 years? Okay, here's your $75 a month. All right, cool. So anyway, but yeah, so I have a bunch of the vending.com ones, and I put on there. And then whatever card system, like I have Fast Card at most of my stores, and I have Kiosk software one. Anyway, I actually put the laundry card reader on the machine, so that way they can redeem points, from so other rewards and things like that they can actually use to do it. And anyway, so it pays both ways that way, and kind of gives a little more customer loyalty when they can swipe their membership card or tap their Wash Bar app and get snacks and that type of thing.
Perfect. Great. Josh, let me stay with you and just ask you, what are some simple, cost-effective moves that laundry owners could make to really, spruce up the interiors of their stores?
I'm going to go off just the ones that I see, because I make it a habit. I try to walk in at least 4 stores a month that are not mine. And in Oklahoma Southern, that's really hard to do. So I'm not that I'm that big. It's just there's not that many. There's just so many small towns. But some I would say is that if you just paint the walls. So many places you walk, I mean, just a simple coat of paint. I personally, all my stores get repainted every 18 to 24 months. Even if they don't need it, we just do it. Then we're also touching up the walls about every 45 to 60 days as well. But the paint is easy. I know, like just this last week, I had one of my very first store I did. It had a bunch of those 2 foot by 4 foot drop-in LEDs. They were starting to look a little dim, so I called up. I have a lighting rep that I called out of Ohio. They sent me 20-something brand new lights. I think it cost me like $1,500. That store is so bright now, it's awesome. And so anyway, but just, as I said, for me, spending that amount of money, and I swapped out the lights myself. I mean, it changed the whole perspective. People who come, I was hanging lights, people are like, this is amazing. This store was already good, but now it feels so much better, so it's just a light and some paint. And so I told you, don't overcomplicate. Now you can get in the weeds, as we said, you can do accents, you can rewrap your plumbing rack. A lot of them are just, here in Oklahoma, we have a lot of plywood plumbing racks. Blows my mind. Just raw plywood. And they don't smell like mold at all. But anyway, but just putting a little bit of effort into it. You don't have to go drop 20 grand. I mean, sometimes even $500, you can change the entire appearance, and that's all it takes sometimes.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's great. Paul, how about you? Quick, easy, inexpensive. Do you have any thoughts?
Paint is a big one. Ceilings, especially if you have drop ceilings, I think those tend to get, especially in a laundromat with the lint and stuff, if you can either change them, or there are ways to clean them with some compressed air and stuff, or I've even seen people just, they have paint that's made for that. That's always a good one. The grout on your tile. If you can clean the grout on your tile, they have some great products to do that. It's some time consuming, but if you got an attendant that's got the time, I mean, that helps. It really makes the floor look newer. Those are some of the things that I like to do, real quick when I take over a spot.
Yeah, great. Sharon, how about yourself?
Picking up on the ceiling tile thing, if any of them are stained, just replace them. Yeah, even if it's a different pattern or whatever. If you can't, you can paint them. kind of try to paint over it, but just replace the stained ceiling tiles. To Josh's point on, he was talking about LEDs and swapping them out, but if you have an older store that has fluorescent lighting, swap them out to LEDs. It's not as expensive as you think. You're going to save in the long run on electricity, and check with your local electric company. They may have rebates. So we got really, that was about one of the few ways we got really lucky on that Seneca store, was all the old fluorescent lighting that veterinary clinic used to have. We swapped it all out to LED and got a really nice rebate check back from the electric company on that. So that was helpful. Let's see, do I have anything else? Oh, Cove Base. If you've got Cove Base, I suppose it's like that 4-inch rubbery stuff that goes at the bottom of your walls for commercial buildings. Just swap that out for new if it looks, banged up, scuffed up, paint it over umpteen times. It's actually pretty cheap. You can, find supply houses that sell that. And your washer bases, if you've got, sometimes you got concrete washer bases, or if you've got the just the metal, you can see here on whoops, hello, there we go. Those bases there are the metal frames bases. Paint those, and I say that, and I've never painted those. That's the original, and I really need to go in and touch up some black paint on those. If you've got on your HVAC, okay, there's another one right there. Return air ducts. If you have, in our case for this store, we have rooftop units or RTUs. Those return air ducts become black after a while, sucking in the lint in the air. Get up and clean those. I mean, I see every speck of dirt in that white ceiling and white everything, but clean those. I mean, it's easy. Yeah, you need a ladder and you'll need a duster, but clean those things out. Just clean, make it look clean. But other than the paint, keep the floors clean, keep it clean. Bright lights and clean. Actually, the LED lights will make people think that their whites are brighter than they really are. And wow, your machines get my clothes so much cleaner than the one down the street, and it's just because you put new lights in.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like Sharon said, look at your utilities for lighting. I mean, some places, we have the same issue. I mean, they change their lights. I mean, a 5,000 square foot store, I think it cost me $1,200 for them to come in, and they did all the labor, and that was labor, materials, everything.
Yeah.
And just to expand on that, there's other, gas companies will give you, not that this is much for store design, but gas companies will give you some rebates and stuff for high-speed washers sometimes, or ozone systems. You just got to look and see what's available in your area.
So a couple of new questions came in with regard to design. What are your thoughts on separating a space for pickup and delivery processing? Have a separate designated spot for that. Do any of you do that, or what are your thoughts on that?
We did pick up and delivery. We had it as a separate company. If at all possible, if you want to keep track of your expenses, it depends on what you want to do with it. If you want it as a separate entity and a separate company, which is the way that we wanted to do it, if you can have separate utilities, separate everything, separate equipment, and you have a space to do it, do that. If you're wanting to do pickup and delivery as an extension of the laundromat, use the same employees and use the same equipment, realize you need to keep track of your expenses, and you'll have to allocate. There's a whole accounting thing. My husband and I have been talking about this extensively recently. You'll have to keep track of the expenses on that, but having it in the same store, when we started, we had it in the same space, in the same store, and we were able, I call it cross-pollinate, cross-market. Yeah, we do pick up and delivery, drop off, pick up and deliver. We since sold that business off to the gal who was running it, who does happen to be Steve's daughter, my stepdaughter, and she's taken it and run with it because I didn't have time for 2 stores and pick up and delivery. But that's a whole different kettle of fish, having pick up and delivery. If you've got room in your store that's unused and you have that luxury, you can put it in to start with. I wouldn't go whole hog and get a whole separate area just for that when you're just starting and dipping your toe in it.
Right.
That's us.
Any other thoughts on that? I think, or is that pretty succinct? Do you agree with that?
I was gonna say, I have pickup, delivery and drop off at all my stores. I even have I built a standalone store almost 2 years ago. It's just a drive through all it is. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I look at it as, I will say 80% of my headaches do come from the wash and fold side of it, just because it's staffing. I mean, which we all know staffing is it. But if you're, I mean, no matter what, even if I wasn't offering wash and fold, I'd still have a staff store. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have staffing no matter what. So might as well offer it. And as I said, and usually the wash and fold on average it basically doubles my revenue for my stores on it. If not a little bit more, but my small, it's about doubles my my normal revenue. And I look at, especially we do a big push during the week when it's a little bit slower. So the machines are sitting there already. So might as well put the attendants to work. I'm already having to pay them. We usually add 1 or 2 extras. We usually have 2 to 3 people on a given shift. And then then the cost of the van and things like that for delivery and the app and all that stuff, which I see Jeff's on there. We're big Clean Cloud fanatics. And so, but anyway, but that's how we manage everything, because it can manage both the laundromat as well as the wash and fold and delivery and all that fun stuff.
Great. Another question on ADA compliance and how that impacts design. Does anybody here want to speak to that as far as the Americans with Disabilities Act?
Ooh, nice tax credit if you take a non-ADA restroom and make it ADA compliant.
There we go.
Found that out in the Seneca store.
There you go.
Yeah. It amazes me how many people come into our stores that are wheelchairs, canes, walkers. We have 0 entry from the parking lot into the store. We have automatic doors. So everything is as ADA compliant as it possibly can be. Keep in mind, top load washers are not ADA compliant. There's a certain height that the door has to be for, and the controls for front load washers and for the bottom pocket dryers. Single pocket dryers are not ADA compliant. You'll have to read up on those to see what height those need to be. So typically in our store, I mean, we have Speed Queen washers on their 6-inch basis, I think. The 20-pound washers are ADA compliant, and the bottom pocket dryers on stacks are ADA compliant. So somebody in a wheelchair, think from the customer, somebody in a wheelchair can use those. And we do have people in wheelchairs come in and use them. They are fiercely independent and do not want any help. So, okay. There's my thoughts.
Yeah, and
Very
make
good.
sure, I mean, the tax credit's great. Make sure you're ADA compliant in certain markets. I mean, parking lots included, certain states and municipalities have different, you have to have X number of handicap spots for every 10 parkings. Make sure you follow that, because there are some lawyers who will throw enough stuff against the wall and see what sticks. And I've had that happen several times. So you get a lawsuit. Oh, my client came in your store and there was not a grab bar on the bathroom. So, we're going to sue you, or you can give us $5,000. And it's a racket, but it is what it is. And so be careful of that. Make sure you're as compliant as possible.
And on new builds, the zoning planning and zoning department will review those plans and ensure that they will tell you how many handicap spaces you will have and where they will be. And and before you get signed off, you'll make sure you got the grab bars in and stuff. But
I was going to say too. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Josh.
I was going to say something that I didn't think about on my last couple of stores, and thank goodness my equipment rep told me, like, we have in-wall kiosks. And I'm sort of like, okay, let's just make it work good. Anyway, no, ADA fix that. So if you walk in, it feels like our kiosks are a little low, but it's because they're ADA. But yeah, just make sure you don't. I'd say if you're, especially if you're putting in new equipment or new build, I mean, if your equipment rep is worth its salt, then I mean, they should know all this to help on everything. But go back to the currency. I always put single pockets as well as stacks. So that way, no matter what height you are, you're good. And then and so anyway, but so most time you have zoning laws, and your equipment rep should help you make sure that's all good. But don't just trust them. Always do the research yourself.
And where would you suggest people go for ADA compliance, the guidance beyond their distributor?
There's a government website. Is it ada.gov? I haven't looked at it in a year, so I can Google it. But I mean, if you have trouble sleeping at night, that site will put you right to sleep. So do that.
Yeah, that's what we did, is we went and got the measurements off of that.
Yeah, I will say, and even I know, and also know states are different. I didn't know when I built my last store, I opened up this last year, even the mirror in the bathroom had to be tilted. So I guess, because I mean, I'm always just put a plate glass on, on the wall. But for new builds, there's actually, luckily it was on Amazon. So I ordered my grab bars for the bathroom. I had to get, had to get the tilted window, it was a box that had a certain degree tilt. So things like that, I would have never known about that. Yeah, some crooked lawyer would try to come say, "I want to sue you for your mirror," because my client couldn't see themselves or whatever. So anyway.
Well, here's the thing, what it does state also is if you have a mirror, it has to be at height. So guess what? We don't have mirrors.
Well, there you go.
Plus, then I don't have to worry about getting glass busted and having it all
Yeah.
over.
No vanity with you guys, right? So.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure the CLA, well, if the CLA doesn't, they should have white paper or some information on ADA compliance as well. So that's always a great resource for a lot of these things.
Exactly, Paul. And there is a white paper on ADA, but it changes. So it's probably always best to go to that site. It's ada.gov and you get the latest guidance on that. Hey, we're almost out of time. I got one question I'm going to ask to everybody. Paul, I'm going to start with you. What's the best advice you could give laundry owners regarding this whole topic of remodeling, decor, design? And you've given us a lot of information, but what's the best advice?
Talk to other owners, visit other laundromats, see what's being done, see what you like, what you don't like. I mean, I love, my kids get sick of it, but when we're going on vacation, I always have to do laundromat tours. And I'm like, I like that idea. And if the owners there, I say, that's a great idea. I'm stealing that idea. So that's one of the best ways. Just see what people are doing. There's a lot of stuff you might not think of that's really cool and makes a place pop. And it makes it a more modern experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Josh, how about you? What's your parting shot?
Yeah, I mean, I know we've pretty much, I think we hit it all, but one thing I'll just say is in going back to his thing, yeah, my wife hates it. I mean, we go to Colorado, we go to a laundromat. I was in Belize 2 weeks ago. I went to a laundromat and I tried to buy one just so I could say I was an international owner, and I couldn't figure that out in the 2 days I was there. But seriously, but anyway, I mean, just care about your store. So many people, I think, get weighed down by the day-to-day operations. Or if they're I'm going to call a slumlord, basically they just don't care. I mean, just care. As I said, touch up the walls when they're needed, put in the lights. If you're not staffed, clean the floors. Just put it. I mean, as I said, it does not have to be an expensive thing to do. I mean, there's so many things that we could do just as owners, even just passing, just to show our customers that we care, and that translates into they will show. They'll keep coming back and coming back and. Even if you don't have the newest store right now, if you tell them, hey, I have a 5-year plan, that's not too long, like a 2-year plan, to be better. You just let people know, say, hey, this is a continual work in progress. And as I said, I think just trying, I never have a store that I'm not doing a project in, because I love the new and refreshing and everything. Most people don't do that. That's just me. But anyway, yeah, just show effort. I know that sounds basic, but it is. It's what it is.
Yeah, great. Sharon, I'm going to give you the last word. What's your best advice?
What can I add that Paul and Josh haven't already said? The goal is when your customer comes in, they want to feel valued, they want to feel comfortable, and you want it to say, hey, we're glad you're here. We're happy to have you as a customer. How can we help you? As opposed to, we don't care about you. We don't care about your business. Just you drop your money here or go down the street and we really don't care. So from the customer's perspective, how does it feel when you walk in? Go visit. Yeah, absolutely. Every laundromat. I've been in pretty much every laundromat here in Wichita. When we go on vacation, Steve and I are both, ooh, there's a laundromat, and we have to do a U-turn and go back and look. And yeah, we're laundromat tourists, just like every other laundry nerd out there. Take ideas, just note everything. What do you like? What do you not like? What makes you feel comfortable? What looks sketchy? What would you do differently? And yeah, we find out ideas all the time from other stores. And always look at it through the customer's eyes. If you want to stay in business and you want to continue to remain profitable, or hopefully you are profitable, want to be more profitable, just look at it from the customer's eyes, through the customer's eyes. What are they seeing?
That's perfect place to leave it right there. This has been a great hour. I've really enjoyed chatting with all three of you. I've learned a lot, and I hopefully everyone who's been here has learned a little bit. So thank you so much for taking time in the middle of your day. I know you're all busy, so thanks for sharing your experiences. And for everyone who was watching, I hope you picked up something you could take to your store and have a great rest of your day. Thanks, everybody.
Thank
you.
you. Appreciate it.